Yeah, we're inside now. It's happening. 10 campmates have headed down under. Wasn't it good to be back in the jungle?
So good.
Because
it's the sunlight, isn't it? Yes. Especially when the weather was so bad.
We need
the weekend. Yeah.
It's really great escape after 2 years in the Welsh castle, and definitely thought so as well. And Twitter went wild as the pair were visibly ecstatic to be back at their Aussie base.
We've waited 2 years for this.
So get ready for the return to Oz.
The jungle's got plenty of surprises in store.
There really is no place like home. Hello, good morning, good evening, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be saying this, but welcome to Australia!
Yay! Hey! There was one thing on everyone's minds last night, though. In the words of the Spice Girls, it's girl power. Jill Scott and ITV's own Charlene White lit Twitter alight last night as they both pulled a blinder when conquering the daring challenge, The Ledge. The pair beat the clock as they walked the plank and stood on tiny little platforms before gloriously jumping into the air to win not just 2 stars for camp, but hundreds of comments online. Massive respect to them. But of course it was poor Babatunde Aleshe who took the title of the first celeb to pull out of a trial this series. Although only minutes were actually shown on screen, it's been claimed that he spent a full 45 minutes deliberating whether or not to take part on top of the tower. So, yeah, you can probably work out what that means. He left poor Charlene standing mid-air for 3/4 of an hour. She was just there.
Do you know what? She was very gracious if that's the case. Because I think that I would be a little bit frustrated if someone was making me wait longer than normal in such a terrifying position.
It was all in his hands. But, you know, you can just tell that he knew where his limit was and he had reached it. You could see the way he was talking to himself in his head, just saying, I cannot do this. And speaking of Charlene as well, we're going to let you in on a little secret. So when it comes to live telly, as we all know around this table, we've got people in our ears, furiously chatting away, counting down the time, just like Charlene does on Loose Women in the News. So as presenters, we're supposed to be really aware of our timings. So Charlene should know how long a second is, or not.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, they're a little fast.
A little ahead.
They're a little bit fast.
28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
That's 30 seconds gone.
34, 35,
That was good.
37, 38, 39, 40, 41.
Charlene, just stop counting. You're nowhere near the count.
I thought that was really unfair because she was obviously, it was helping her with her confidence. And then he goes, just stop.
I thought they were both absolutely amazing. And Jill Scott is someone I just want with me all the time. Just motivating and encouraging.
And she said afterwards she was afraid of heights.
Unbelievable.
You'd have had no idea.
No, absolutely not.
Brilliant.
I think she is a strong contender after last night. Well, meanwhile, Princess Anne's son-in-law took part in this first series of trial. Mike Tindall may have performed well, but he wasn't the star of the show as a certain giant spider crawled right onto the back of his head, although it can be safely said that viewers at home and online were impressed with how he wasn't fazed one bit. But, of course, we're all eagerly awaiting the entrance of a certain former health secretary who goes by the name of Matt Hancock. He is set to enter camp on Wednesday, OK? However, the controversial signing is already receiving special treatment, apparently. According to various reports, the Conservative MP was granted permission in a special deal with bosses to use his phone and his laptop to carry on working during his isolation period. This is despite the other campmates, of course, being stripped of all their technology. I mean, or you could just stay and do your job and not go in.
Little bit of politics, little bit of politics.
The celebs may have only just sailed, dived and settled into the Aussie camp, but the odds are already in for bookies' favourites to win the series. Jill Scott, who we just mentioned before, and Mike Tindall as well, are current favourites, as their odds have been slashed to 3-1 after impressive trial performances. Meanwhile, coming in close behind is former Love Island star Olivia Attwood at 5-1, with Boy George coming in at 7-1. Gogglebox star Babatunde is currently at 9-1, whilst radio icon Chris Moyles is sitting at 12-1. And he hasn't entered the jungle just yet. But on Friday, his odds were high, but it appears former Health Secretary Matt Hancock's got a lot of catching up to do, as he's now coming in at 40-1. I think we can all agree this is an amazing lineup. And it has been reported today that bosses have spent over £2 million to to cheer up the stars for a glorious return to Oz. And I'm a Celebrity continues tonight at 9 p.m. on ITV. And after 8, we'll be joined by former campmate James Haskell.